Guys, is it time? Is it Nubby's time? Oh my god, it's Nubby's time. Holy shit, it's Nubby's time. Oh my god. I usually when I start streams, I'll end up like posting it in self promo channels. I'll post it on Twitter and stuff. And then I'll go and take a piss, get some water, come back. I didn't this time. Cause I love the Plock soundtrack too much. I was just vibing. I forgot to grab water and stuff, so that's fun. Uh, I did fuck around with some of the channel point redemptions. I didn't add any new ones, but I edited the pick music so that uh, the hold on, the command is useless. You can just suggest either video game OST or uh, an album that you know for a fact is copyright free, and I'll play it. Because I don't have it set up to where it doesn't show up in VODs, so I can't listen to copyrighted music or anything. And I changed around all the prices. I change around the prices like every other stream. It's really funny because no one buys them because I don't stream enough for people to be lurking constantly. So it's really funny. No one ever uses them ever. Also, congrats, Daniel, on first. Hold on, I'm just gonna make sure. Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. Happy156 underscore. I agree, I should listen to Plock. Okay, I'm playing Nubbies. I have a couple other things that I can do after Nubbies. Someone bought me Papa's Freezeria in exchange for me drawing an OC of theirs. I don't know how to draw, so I'm gonna have to end up figuring that out at some point. But Papa's Freezeria, I have that now. I can play that. The deluxe version on Steam, at least. Hold on. Let me... Dude. I fucking love Flock. This music goes so fucking hard, dude. I love this shit. I spent all morning just listening to the soundtrack like a fucking album. It's incredible. I love it. We will be listening to Flock for the time being. Until someone changes it, or until I want to listen to Nubbies, actually, maybe. Hold on. Nubbies is a lot louder than... I'm gonna turn off the Nubby music for now. And I will turn up this a little bit. I think that's good. It's such a fucking banger. Also, I will join now streaming. I think it was really funny last stream while I was just playing Nubbies, and people were just coming in and out as they chose, and I thought that was really fun. Also, if you didn't see on my in my announcements tab, really lame, but I have a resource pack called Homercraft, Minecraft resource pack called Homercraft, and I just add stuff to it when I feel like, when I have an idea that'd be funny, and I'm just gonna post a Twitter link in chat. I don't even care. I turned the cake into a burger, and I'm actually really proud of the pixel art. It actually turned out really good, and I'm surprised. It actually looks good, and I'm very happy with it. So, okay, it's Nubby time. Hold on, let me get PNG Tuber open. I have it open. It just needs to be tabbed in. I can't have it minimized, which is kind of lame, but it's just how it is. Okay. Holy shit. Have you seen my pigeon, Daniel? I think you have. I'm just a pigeon. And I have hyper-realistic human fingers. They don't show up, Um, and I'm actually using telekinesis right now to play the game, but I do have hyper realistic human fingers. That is true. That is a real fact. Nubby's Plok soundtrack actually fits really well with Nubby's. Also, I have not beaten the game yet.
Go.
I only have 3 hours, and I have not played this off stream at all. Probably a bad idea. I'm not very good at these kinds of games, so I don't know if I'll ever beat it, or at least not soon. I know the Nubby's um, update happened. I have not played it since then. This is my first time playing it since that update. Okay. I know they rebalanced a bunch of stuff. They added a bunch of new stuff as well. I saw that. That was cool. Hold on, I have some Myconites here. If you hear some grotesque chewing noises, it's me eating Myconites. These are like some of the best fucking candy. I love Myconites. They always hit. Yeah, they're so fucking good. Um, hmm. I think that I've never really used a finger puppet, but the finger puppet does sound good in the first couple rounds. I will do that, and then I'll reroll. I like uranium rod. I'll freeze that. Pops random peg, right? And 10 pegs pops a random peg when this peg pops. It'll give points twice. Pins aren't that good. At least in my experience, they're not that good. Okay, this is fine. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. My highest restock is 11, but I've seen my friend go up to, like, I think 16? I think I saw 16 stock. Just fucking insane. I feel like Finger Puppet adds up really quick in the early game. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm big chillin' right now. I got loot. Fuck. Okay. I've never used the speedy perk in my life, honestly. Because if the round started less than a second ago and Nubby dies, that I don't really like that. I don't really use that. Nubby bounces 5%. Springy perk is really good. I remember putting a cheese house on it and it went insane. I put cheese house plus on it. What the fuck are you? Poop butt? What the fuck are what? Poop butt? What do you mean? So it just gives you 15 points every single time. No. First peg popped, it gives you plus 15 for every time the restock has happened all game? So right now it'd be, as soon as I pop my first peg, it'd give me 360 points. That seems really good, actually. Hold on. I'm gonna get poop butt. I'm gonna expand and I'm gonna reroll. Oh, laser pointer. I've gotten laser pointer before and it seemed really good. 2 pegs. Also, I should probably reread everything because I know they did a bunch of balancing. Triggers an electron beam that passes through pegs. When an electron beam hits a peg, the peg will give 50% of its number. Electron beams do not pop pegs. Oh, right. Okay. Flaming Skull. Flaming Skull is really good. I will freeze this and move on, though. Because I want to have money for the... Actually, no. It should be fine. I should have enough coins once I get to the crane game. Do you think I should buy Flaming Skull? I could put it so poop butt triggers. I can also make it so this triggers the uranium rod. I want to get laser pointer on slot 5. That seems pretty good. I'm gonna get it. There's no reason not to. Whoa, look at the little... Okay, hold on, I'm gonna move poop up there. Look at him go. Poop actually seems really good, now that I think about it. But it seems like an early game. A really good and early game. Which, clearly it is. Hold on. Clock isn't loud enough. Perfect. Okay. Huge. The end button shows up a lot quicker. Okay, I have enough money. I've never won gambling. Almost every single time my friend does it, gets it almost every time. I've never won from the gambling. Never. Oh yeah, I forgot. The verm. Just gonna throw my phone on the floor. Anything good? Anything good? I just dissed pants. I deserve this. And you. Very important. I know Crazy Straw, they actually made Crazy Straw, like, good and not suck absolute dick and balls in a bad way. They, like, completely reworked the entire thing. Alright. Sneaky snipers. Fuck. I shouldn't have rerolled. Everything's fine, actually. I'm fine. Okay. Mysterious... Wait, what? I'm assuming this means if you skip it, but I'm not gonna do that. Black market? What the fuck are you? What the fuck are you? Hold on. Mannequin Head, I know what Mannequin Head is. Mannequin Head, really fucking good. King Baby, every 1.5 seconds. The lowest number peg becomes a copy of the highest number peg? What? That seems way too OP. I mean, it's rare for a reason. In Toy Fish, first peg popped. 2 random pegs will copy the number of the first peg popped. If this item is in slot 7, 4 pegs will be affected instead of 2? This one is insane. I have to get this one, right? That's insane, right? Oh, I don't like this one. Oh, we're fine. Okay. What are you? The Lunar perk. Nubby dies. Force triggers the item in slot 6 one time for every 7 rounds you've passed with this in your inventory. Huh. And then Buckshot isn't that great, but they might have changed it. If the first peg popped was the highest number peg, force triggers the items in slots 1 and 2 twice. Actually, that might not be bad. I love Nubby, dude. You get it. You get it. I fucking love Nubby. Oh yeah. Uh, Daniel. It feels weird saying that. It feels too formal to me. But I bought the PC that I sent you and asked if that was good. I went through with the purchase. I'm very excited for it. It ships in like 2 to 4 weeks, I think. So I'm excited for that. Uh, this seems good early, but like, if you got this earlier, I think it would be a lot better. I don't know. There might be a really good item to force there. But that's when Nubby dies. I want to see this. Actually, Lunar Perk is new. I'm gonna get Lunar Perk. Dude, the fucking king baby looks so gross. And I love it. Gross in like a good way. Why does the end show up so quickly now? Dude. Dude! Poop Butt is getting way too strong. 7. Hell yeah. That sucks, but I'm fine. We're fine. We're big chilling. Flock fits this so well. Flock fits this so well. Oh yeah, right. I'm just gonna sell the pants. Get a new slot. Buy laser pointer. And then put the laser pointer here? I think? Yeah. Because I like laser pointer. Laser pointer is cool. Okay, nobody bounces. Oh yeah, right. Dancing Dino is really good. I've gotten carried by Dancing Dino quite a few times. I'm gonna open the cafe. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. I know they nerfed... This item was super OP, and then they nerfed it, and then I played, and it was still super OP, and now they nerfed it again. That's really funny, actually. I don't really care about the pickle rat. Hot dog dog. 3 coins. I mean, the hot dog dog, you have to get the hot dog dog every time, because it just gives you free coins. If you're at full health, it just gives you 2 free coins. I could get Dancing Dino, or it could reroll. I could get a cheese house. I don't know. I'm gonna reroll. Ooh, where are you? Squid. I remember there was a squid. There was a squid in the black market, right? Is this the same squid? Mutates the non-upgraded version of the left. Hold on. Mutates into the non-upgraded version of the item to the left of me for the rest of the round. Wait. Does that... Does that work? I wonder if that works. Holy shit, it works! That's actually awesome. Hold on. Oh, this seems really good. Oh, this seems really good. Hold on. We might be here for a while. Holy shit! What the fuck? I've never seen that before. Holy shit. I put a clip marker on that shit so hard. Oh my god. Clip that shit. Clip that shit. I don't even know if I have anyone in the chat. But holy shit, that was awesome. I've never seen that before. The king baby squid combo might be a little too crazy. Oh, 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 oh. Holy shit, this is actually crazy. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I really like the chaotic perk. Look at how many coins I have! Holy fucking shit. This is actually kind of crazy. Oh wait, Crazy Straw isn't a black market item anymore. Hold on, I have to... Ooh, chip, eat. If you have less than 5 lives, restores 1. Otherwise, re-rolls all cafe food items. Interesting. Okay. I don't really care. Cheese House? They made Cheese House a lot more expensive, okay? Not like I care. I'm fucking loaded. Someone's a sharp shot. Jax is pretty good, especially with this combo. I should pass the round goal fairly quickly. And then I keep passing the round goal. That could be pretty good. I don't know. Creates a chain bolt? No. I don't really like the broken socket. 10 pegs popped. Draws 1 straw that pops 1 peg. Hold on. Like a nighttime. Pegs popped by straws give an additional 20%. Wait, what? Gains 5%? Crazy Straw is actually kind of fucking crazy. No pun intended. Holy shit! Hold on. I love the monstrosity. Don't get me wrong, I love the monstrosity. I have to do this. I could? The finger puppet I don't think is really carrying its weight anymore. I could replace it with a monstrosity. Nah. I go with this. Yeah, okay. Hold on. That's fucking crazy. Okay, hold on. Oh, dude. Dude. Psychic Link, okay. $11. Still in that call, right? Oh, I'd never even joined. Okay. Now I'm gonna call. Mitsuda. Dude, I got a 26 restock. I got a motherfucking 26 restock. I'm playing the most broken game of nubbies in my goddamn life. And I know it's not gonna last forever. It's gonna end up, at like round 60, I'm gonna end up just dying from one. Ooh. Some new items. Hold on, cafe. No. No. Almost all of these are new items. E-block. It's just a block with a bunch of E's on it. Force trigger this item. When this is force triggered, it transfers the force trigger to the item to the left of me? Okay. So this is just taking up a useless slot. All this does is have a force trigger to... It has a 15% chance to force trigger twice. But it takes up a full-ass slot, so I don't think that's worth it. 10 pegs pop, the lowest number peg gives points equal to 10 times its value? If the lowest peg is 64 or less, it'll give 1,000 points instead. Wait. Okay, the seal was synced up with the music. Happy seal. First peg popped, 2 pegs get smacked? When a peg is smacked, it counts as a peg have triggered without actually having it? What? I'm not sure I understand Happy Seal. If I buy anything, I'm getting rid of Finger Puppet. It counts as a peg have triggered? Okay. If the lowest number of peg is equal to... That seems pretty good. The lowest peg gives points equal to 10 times its number. I don't know if it's better than the Finger Puppet or not. It probably is, but the Finger Puppet can easily stack with the King Baby Squid combo. I'm gonna reset. Okay, I shouldn't have reset. These all kind of suck. Cucumber, every empty space. This cucumber is really good. But I need an empty space for that. The second perk? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's new here. Also, ad break starting in like 40 seconds. The lunar perk. Nubby dies, force triggers the slot in... The fuck? Force triggers the item in slot 6 one time for every 7 rounds you've passed this with your inventory. So this would force trigger this twice. Actually, yeah. It force triggers this twice. Every time Nubby dies now. It's a pretty cool perk. King Baby is a corrupted... Every 1.5 seconds, the lowest number peg becomes a copy of the highest number peg, which is fucking insane. It's so good. And then I have a squid that mutates into this. So I have two King Babies, which is actually insane. It goes so hard. 2 pegs halved. It used to be 2 pegs doubled. Yeah, I know. They nerfed and buffed a bunch of stuff. They nerfed the Crazy Straw and also made it a normal item. Crazy Straw Plus. Or Crazy Straw is actually really good now. Okay. Reroll. Reroll actually helps the Crazy Straw a lot. Dude. Oh fucking god. Okay, ads. Oh, dude. I'm very happy with this build. As soon as I get around where, there isn't a second restock, I gotta rethink my options. Alright. This could be good. Wait, did you see that? Oh, hello, Magic. Goodbye, Magic. I'm playing the greatest Nubby game of my goddamn life right now. Noodle. That would make me lose a single coin. I don't want to do that. Gain 1 coin for every strawberry eaten during the game. Maxes out at 7 coins. Actually, the new strawberry is pretty good. Kazoo. I don't really need any of these items. I think I'm set for the time being. Nubby's acting a lot different. Like, I don't know, something about Nubby. He's a lot less bouncy. Oh, I didn't even win that round. Shit. I got loot. Okay. Oh, this is different. Mystery box is different. Candle perk is the same, I think. If you've passed the round goal, force triggers item twice. That's pretty good, actually. I have this in slot 5. I could put this in slot 5. Hold on, do I have... Because this is a 5% chance to trigger slot 5. And then this would be force trigger slot 5. So it'd trigger this right now. Actually, I think I'm going to put... Oh yeah, this guy's name is Poop Butt, by the way. Mystery box. If slot 1 is empty, a random slot from Nubby Mart will pair in force trigger 3 times? The new item will disappear. Wait, what? That's a lot better. They buffed this. This is a really good perk, and they buffed it. Alright. I guess I'll get it, and I will sell the finger puppet, because it's not that useful anyways. Oh my god, it's another poop butt. Okay. Well, look at that. What the fuck is that? Why is he getting stuck? Hold on, is that an item? I think the game is just broken. That's probably why I got such a high score. Also, this is the exact thing that happened that got me a 26 restock. Huge, dude. Alright. Oh. Honestly, that's not that good for my build right now. Another skull. Do I have something that force triggers this? Or no? Oh my god. I could get another poop butt. Whoa! That's actually really good. Hold on. I don't really want any of this. Actually, I have so many. I might as well do all that shit. I have so many goddamn coins right now, oh my god. I'm gonna freeze poop butt, re-roll. Nothing good. I'm gonna do poop butt plus. And I'm going to flamethrower. Flamethrower isn't that good for my build. Peg halved, 25% chance to double one random peg. That's not bad. I don't have any slots right now. Because I have that slot open. Crazy. Dude. I don't think I've gotten below 3 health at all this game. This is actually pretty good, because that buffed my crazy straw by a lot, and I think I'm gonna get my health back anyways, so. Strategic losing, apparently. Oh my. Oh wait, I got another crazy straw. Okay. Ooh, shit. Okay. Fuck. Okay. I might end up putting something in that, because the mystery box perk isn't doing nearly as well as it usually does. Fuck. Ugh. Oh, that sneeze hurt. Ow. Fuck. Okay. Eggy perp. This and this summon things. I could get something else that summons things. Cheese House kind of sucks right now, for my build. What are you? Lentil. Randomizes all items in your inventory? Oh my god, that's fucking insane, dude. If you have a shitty-ass build, that is the ultimate Hail Mary. Oh my god, okay. Well, this is free coins. Thank you for the free coins. I don't even need free coins, man. 50% chance to force trigger the... That would force trigger poop butt. That would force trigger poop butt. And I could also force trigger... What if I move? No, because that's... No. Flaming Skull. I don't really need Flaming Skull. Honestly, Flaming Skull might not be that good right now, in all honesty. I'm not exactly sure. Fava Bean stocks a random ultra rare food item. Do I do that? I want to see an ultra rare food item. I think they made Dave free, which is really funny. I want to try the Fava Bean, but I'm gonna do it. Donut, ultra rare. Duplicates the most recently obtained perk. Force triggers all items that summon anything. Yeah. That would have been good earlier, but it's not... It's still good, it's just not great. Reroll. Jax. Jax might be better, honestly. I could also get a crazy straw again. That'd be funny. I have 2 crazy straws. Pedro hits wall, pops 1 peg. I'm gonna try with Jax, and if Jax doesn't work for the first couple rounds, I'm just gonna sell it. Okay, Jax is good, but I don't know if it fits the... I don't know if it fits my build, because my build is just make Nubby last on the screen as long as I possibly can, and Jax isn't really helping with that. But also, I'm gonna keep Jax for the time being. With Jax going on, hold on. Jax, egg, and 2 eggy perks, and these, and all of, oh my god, okay, hold on. This is a crazy ass build. I just gotta say that now. I'm getting 3 million. Okay, I'm gonna be set for a while. And for a while, I mean like maybe 10-15 rounds. Dude, I don't even have to have a good round and it just plays the game for me. Okay. First time gamble. I better win. I've never won the gamble before. Fuck you! Dude! What the hell? I never won the gambling. Okay, key time. I should have gambled again. I don't even have to play the game. I don't even have to play the game. I literally do not have to play the game at all anymore. Like, look at that. It's just playing the game for me. I know this isn't gonna last forever. I know it's not gonna last forever. But it's gonna last a while, I think. I don't know what this says. I think that just skips it. I really want to click this button, but I don't know what it does. Any Nubby experts in chat, anyone who has played the recent update, what does this button do? Does this just skip the dark market? Or the black market? Because I genuinely don't know, and I don't want to find out, so I'm going to use the key. Oh, Jake the Snake is a black market item now. 1 in 2 chance to double all pegs. That could be really good in combo with those. You go to the regular shop instead. Okay, that makes sense. The pointer marks a random peg. When a peg is marked, all pegs that have the same number will be doubled. If no pegs have the same number as the marked peg, a random peg will be doubled. That also seems really good. These two seem really good. This one not so much, but these two seem really good. I think I'm going to sell the Flaming Skull, actually. Because all of these items are way too good to sell. And this one is just when Nubby dies. It's not that good right now. Which one do you think I should get? Because both of these seem good. Or I could reroll. Rerolling would be really stupid. But I feel like either of these two down here would be good. Jake, I think. Yeah, I was thinking Jake over the pointer. The pointer does seem really good, but Jake also seems really good. Jake in combo with all of these other ones would be insane. Also, do you see how high I'm getting? Pointer is new though, that's true. Oh, pessimism? Really? Pessimism is actually very bad on this. There's a lot going on. Okay, we're fine. Ooh, what are you? Gourmet. Horse triggers? What? Huh? What? That one's actually fucking insane. Force triggers every time. What? Oh my god. Oh, I'm getting that. Oh my god, that seems incredible. So many perks for slot 7. Yeah, really. Hold on. This one's slot 6. This one's slot 5. This one's slot 1, but I'm not using that right now. Item 7. Okay, so it force triggers this 6 times. So I would get... Hold on. Let me mental math. 48,000 points for free. And that's right now. If I eat more food, because I have so much money, if I just eat the cheapest food, every time I eat a food... Okay, that's actually crazy. Hold on. I'm going to beat my record, I think. I'm gonna beat my record with this at the very least. I don't think I'm gonna win, but... We're hopeful. I'm hopeful. I need to upgrade Jax. If I get a Jax upgrade, I think I'm just set for life. It's actually not good to go for that with my build. Oh, I keep getting board clears almost every time. My highest round was 66. I'm going to far surpass 66, I think. Hold on, Mike and Ike's. I only read like half the patch notes, and it was only a skim. I think they buffed Evil Goose. That seems okay. Hold on. Oh my god! Oh my god, okay. I think I won. I think I won the game. Hold on. Free coins and this for free. That just evens out coins. This is giving me coins. Dude. Dude. Okay, I think I'm set. If I don't be bad. If I hold on. If I don't be bad. Dude. Getting a 13 restock in round 66, dude. Oh my god. Hold on. Absolutely speechless. Absolutely speechless. Blowfish peg. When peg pop for the first time, all other pegs will be doubled or halved. Interesting. Holy shit! Oh my god! That is what, what? Huh? Dude. This is my first game of the stream, by the way. This is my first game. Just saying. What the fuck is going on? Squid on Jake? That's a good point. Now, I have to put the squid on King Baby. Oh. Actually, it's 3%, not 5% anymore. I hate Drainer Perk, though. Drainer Perk sucks. I've never used it before, but just look at it. Look at it. It looks ugly and stupid. This is... That would force trigger... Hold on. What if I force trigger Jax? No, I don't need to force trigger Jax. This would force trigger Crazy Straw Plus. Yeah. Drainer still sucks, yeah. This is the most disgusting game of Nubbies I've ever seen in my life. I'm so excited to get the fucking VOD of this. Oh my god, this is insane. Okay, Jax 2. Dude, I'm set for fucking life. You reroll. Oh my god, 3 chips. I might as well use up my money. Okay, and then, oh, dude. That force trigger is this. I could force trigger laser. I could force trigger Jax 12 times. Because this is force triggering this right now. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep that force triggering that. And if I do this, when Nubby dies, it... And then it'll... But then it... I think I'm gonna get a board clear every single round. I think I'm gonna get a board clear every round. You guys understand how fucking insane this is, right? You understand how fucking insane this is, right? You understand how fucking insane this is, right? I'm getting board clears every fucking round. Oh. Dude. Dude. I can't wait to see the... I can't wait to see the VOD on this. Oh, that's actually... I think they buffed the inflatable dolphin. I don't have to buy anything, truly. 16? Oh. This is the greatest round of Nubbies of all time, by far. This is the greatest Nubbies gameplay you will ever see in your life. Truly. Oh no, I didn't get a board clear. That's like really bad now. Oh, 2 billion? I don't think I've ever been this loud in my life, dude. And it just gets better. And it just gets better. And it just gets better. Oh my god, and it just gets better. Dude, it just gets fucking better. It just gets better. It just gets better and better. And it just gets better. Hold on. Okay, so, poop butt, right? Right now it's giving 18,040 points. Plus, and it gets force triggered 18 times at the beginning of the round. No, wait. One time... Oh, one time for every 10. I read this wrong. So it's force triggering that... Okay. I thought that this was fucking crack. I read it wrong. But still, that's insane, right? Dude, you didn't just see... Were you tabbed out or something? Hold on. I got a 42 restock with 2 billion in the last round. I got a 42 restock in the last round. I think I'm set for the game. Like, come on. Like, come on. Like, come on. This is... I have not beaten the game, Mitsuda. I have not beaten the game. This is the farthest I've ever been. Final boss? Wait, hold on. Tony shoots lasers from his eyes. If a peg is hit by a laser, its number will be reduced to 1? I think I've got this. Dude, I think I've got this. I think I've... I'm the greatest Nubby player of all time. Truly. Holy shit. That was fucking awesome. And also I think the... No, there's still a couple more songs. But holy motherfucking fuck. I don't even know what happens after you beat nubbies. I mean, I'm gonna do endless mode, obviously. Zone question mark of the universe. I just want to see how far this can take me. Because this is an insane build. I'm getting crazies in round 82. I'm just chilling, man. I'm just chilling. I'm absolutely chilling. I don't even have to, like, try to aim somewhere. Dude. Oh, ad break. The bot only works the second time. That's so weird. It only works the second time. I don't know why it does that. I'm absolutely fucking gaming out of my goddamn mind right now, dude. It also helps that Nubby, the movement of Nubby is like super bugged, where it just sticks to pegs. I don't know why it does that. But Nubby will just stick to pegs sometimes, and just instantly get them. Oh shit, hold on. Oh, it reset. Ooh, actually, I might be screwed here. Hold on. I think the bombs are actually screwing me over. Shit. Oh, fuck. No! Damn you. Oh. Dude. I'm so fucking proud of myself, man. Actually fucking crazy. Yeah, my laser pointer can't activate enough. I think ads are gonna start any second now, but oh my god. Most insane game I've ever... Ooh. If every game is like this, I think I'm gonna be addicted. The endorphins, or I think, right? Endorphins. The fucking serotonin is seeping over my brain right now. I'm like melting in a puddle. Oh. Yeah, challenges. I've heard of challenges. I don't know what it is. Oh. I feel very accomplished. Custom seed. I have custom seeds now. Oh. They're over for you? Huh. It says they're still going for another, like, 30 seconds. Ads are really weird on Twitch. Okay. I feel so accomplished. I don't even... Like, I have other games lined up. That was my first game of nubbies. I'm so proud of myself for that. I know it's probably not that good even, but oh my god. Challenging. Short on change. Max coins are capped at 10. Plain Jane. Rare items, foods, and perks cannot be found? Nublock! I've heard of Nublock. Failure to meet the quota on any round will result in the leftmost item being deleted? Oh, that's bad. One-shot McGee during restocks. You can only gain +1 life at most, even if you restock more than once. You cannot gain lives using any alternate method. Pre-update, Plain Jane was the easiest. Perks cannot be obtained. Ooh. Amnesiac. I've heard of Amnesiac. I think someone said you should do the Amnesiac challenge. That might have been you at Suda, I don't remember who said that. Items in shops are replaced by various mystery boxes. Mystery boxes give a random item. Dude, it's fucking loot boxes. That's funny. That's a good one. BB mode. When you start a round with more than one item, all items will be disabled? So you have to have one item. Interesting. C4. C4 is strapped to Nubby. Nubby will explode and die after 1.5 seconds, causing a big explosion. Expiration date. Items will be deleted after 15 rounds. Upgrading items will reset their expiration date. You can jumble pegs once per game. Rerolling in items in shops is disabled. You can jumble pegs once per game. This seems like the easiest, to be honest. But that's not saying much. I have no idea. Expiration date is the hardest. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be the hardest. I have no idea, like, what the easiest or hardest would be. My guess, based on just the descriptions, is that Stay There is the easiest, but I have no idea. I don't think there's that many Micanites left. I might play Papa's Freezeria. I don't think anything can top that for me. Dude! Oh, I'm tearing this shit up. Not loud enough. Oh, dude, it's so big. I'm just gonna be right back and shove a bunch of these Micanites up my gullet. I'm not gonna mute either. I'm chewing with my mouth open. Fucking nubbies, dude. And also Block. I should play Block. I've never played Block. Yeah, I know you use that in Pie's channel. You use that in Pie's channel a lot. It was made by Pie, but that is a picture of my cat. That is a picture of my cat when it was like a couple weeks old. You don't know what Block is? It's a SNES game. This is SNES music. Hold on. Let me put on the main theme. This is SNES music. This is for the NES. Insane. I have so many 7TV emotes and they all suck and I love it. I think my favorite is White Sausage. Hold on. It hasn't gotten to the best part. They made this sound an extremely realistic electric guitar using the SNES sound chip. actually fucking crazy. Hold on, I have to... I'm totally looking up Nubby on 7TV. Oh, there's actually a lot of Nubby emotes. Why are there so many? I mean, I've heard some of the Chrono Trigger songs, but I don't think I've listened to it in full. I think this is like the most insane example of people using the SNES sound chip. Yeah, I know. You explained it before. I think you explained it in your private account, though. Like you have one anymore, because all your accounts are private. None of these fucking... 7TV is not loading at all for me right now. Hold on. I say that and immediately starts loading. Nubby got. Hold on. I'll add Nubby. Where it's just Nubby rolling around. I'll add Nubby caught. I'll add Let Nubbies, which is this Tony screaming. Adding Peepo Tubby, where it's just Peepo smacking his big fat belly. Pog Tony, I'll add Pog Tony. I'm adding way too many Nubby emotes, I don't even care. And I'll add Nubby Gang. Okay, and I'm done with the Nubby. The chat is flooded. If you have 7TV, it's flooded. 7TV is just an extension. You just like go to the Chrome web store and look up 7TV and you can download it. And it just gives you a bunch of emote slots. Like I'll just do I have caught and I also have Nubby caught. Like if I post a Nubby Gang, if you have the extension, you can see that Nubby Gang is a gif of 5 Nubbies bouncing in a row like a worm. It's really awesome, actually. But if you have the extension, you'd be able to see that. It's a very popular thing on Twitch. Firefox, it's on Firefox as well. I'm pretty sure it's also on mobile, but not officially. There's also BTTV, which people use, but I don't use it. I haven't installed because it acts as like a launcher, basically, so I can download 7TV through BTTV. And some people use BTTV, but I don't. So I still have it. Like I have, this one. This is like one of the greatest things of all time. Okay, we're just replaying music now. Dude. Banger alert. I'm still here, it just says be right back. I don't think I'm gonna be doing Nubbies today. I think I'm set with Nubbies. That was incredible. I'm never topping that. Papa's Pizzeria? I'm either doing Papa's Pizzeria or I'm doing Minecraft. I don't know what I'll do for Minecraft. Oh my god, Repo changed its... Oh, thank god. Repo changed its branding. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, dude. Bless up, oh my god. Have you seen the have you seen the repo branding? The gross-ass, ugly-ass, laughing emoji that literally no one likes? Everyone was clowning on it. A lot of people, the reason they didn't buy it was because of that branding. And it has nothing to do with the game. It's just kind of ugly for no reason. But they changed the branding to be the headman with the little repo robots. And it's fucking awesome now. That's actually really cool. I like it a lot. Okay. I'm gonna set up a poll, actually. Poll. Create new. What to play next? I'm assuming people are gonna say Papa's Freezeria. But Minecraft is also an option. I don't know what I'll do in Minecraft. Well, they're playing on my survival world, which is a server, but I don't think you guys can join unless maybe some of you. But it's not my server, so. And then I could also do Hypixel Skyblock or Hypixel in general. Hypixel is a pretty good stream server. And then I'll also. I can't really think of any other options, honestly. I'm gonna set it to 2 minutes. Is there any other games you guys like to see me play that I actually have? Been a while since you did Hypixel. Hypixel is awesome. By a while, do you mean like in the past 4 years? Do you know about Hypixel Skyblock? Oh yeah, you don't know what I have. It's not what I have, it's what I can actually run while streaming. Oh, Slime Rancher. I still haven't played Slime Rancher on stream. Okay, start poll. I don't really know if any of you guys will actually vote on the poll, but because I only have... Oh, actually, I have a couple... Some people showed up. I actually have not played Slime Rancher on stream yet. I mean, I have, but like, recently I haven't played it on stream in a while. We could do Papa's Pizzeria. I haven't played that in many years, actually. And then Minecraft, I would do Hypixel or a different world. Slime Rancher is in the lead with 1 vote. That's pretty huge, actually. I know Mitsuda's in the chat. Actually, they might have gone away, but you could vote for something if you want. I could vote. I could vote in my own poll and rig it. I'm just gonna vote Minecraft on my own poll. I don't know why it lets you vote in your own polls. That's really funny. Dude. They're fucking shredding on the SNES. Slime Rancher did run fucking terrible when I was streaming it last. And it's probably gonna stream worse because I have a little bit more open now. But your guys are gonna have to live with it. I bought a new computer. It should be arriving soon. Very excited for it. It will be coming at some point in the near future. 2 to 4 weeks, I think. It's shipping. And then it'll take me a while to set up. Also, it got tied because I voted. I probably will play Slime Rancher though, because the only person in chat voted for it. I think you were here last time I was playing Slime Rancher. It was really bad. But it's fine. You know what? It's fine. I've accepted my fate. Everything's fine. I don't remember what I was saying. What I was talking about. Oh yeah, new PC. It'll take a while once I get it, because I need to swap out the SSD that's in it. It's a pre-built. I need to swap out the SSD that's in it for my two 1TB SSDs that I have now, and I don't know how to do that. It should be simple, but it might take a while for me to do that because I'm lazy. Yeah, that's the first stream we saw. Yeah, my computer kind of dookie ass. Also, I'm gonna turn down Plock because it's loud. It's still loud actually. Hold on. That's better. I think that's good. Also, do you like my Be Right Back screen? Yeah, I've streamed worse. I used to stream in 2018, I think. I streamed Celeste on my base model Xbox One on Twitch, and it was like 300 kilobytes a second and like 2 seconds a frame. It was crazy. You like the dog? Her name is Maya. And her mom is a stock photographer based in Ukraine. And I scalped Shutterstock for all 1,200 images of the 1,200 stock images of the dog, and then just put it in a slideshow. And now it's on Be Right Back screen. The dog. Alright. I've been stalling for a while now. I'm gonna rip the band-aid off and I'm gonna open Slime Rancher. Actually, I probably should have changed the title before I... Hold on. I'm just gonna change it to Local Pigeon Plays Slime Rancher. Just to make it easy on myself. And then... Category Slime Rancher. Yay. I finally opened... Or actually, I finally added a, doc to my OBS with my stream information. For some reason, I hadn't had that. It makes it so much easier. Because almost every single time I streamed, I always forget to change the title and category. But now it's just right there, staring me in the fucking face every time. We're opening it. Hold on. I don't remember if I even had my second monitor when I streamed at last. Also, OBS is buffering. OBS is not happy with me. Yes, have them still forget. I haven't forgotten since I put it on, but also that's not saying much because I put it on actually I put it on a month ago, but it's only been four streams with me having it on, I think. Okay, hopefully it's... Do not... No. Fucking assholes playing presumably copyrighted music. I don't have the thing that turns off copyrighted music, bro. I deafened. Hold on, I'm just gonna... Okay. I undeafened. Stop, dude. I'm gonna server mute you. Next time you join and have music playing in the background, I will server mute you. I saw that in chat. You kind of got scammed, but it still freaked me out because of how loud it was. I actually do think it needs to be louder. Hold on. Every time it happens, I'm like, louder. It's at 100%. I'm just gonna try crank it up to 150. Perfect. That's way too loud. But you probably have the channel points for it. I don't know. I'm gonna turn off the Plock music, unfortunately, because the music in this game is really good. Also, figured out 7TV thing. Manager was messing with it. Look at my new 7TV emotes, haircut. And it's AJ holding the double chocolate cookie, getting a haircut. Or white sausage. White sausage is a good one. Okay. Also, hello, Wushi. You... The stream's gonna be shitty again. My apologies. I don't really care. I do care, actually, a lot. So I'm playing Slime Rancher again, my computer doesn't like it. I ordered a new computer, though. Should be arriving in 2 to 4 weeks. So, that's cool. What the fuck is Mindwave music playing in my mic? Yeah, I know! You're playing some kind of music. I'm scared, because it's probably... If it's from a game, it's probably not copyrighted, but still scary. Also, welcome back to Slideshow Heaven. Actually, for some reason, it is performing better on my end. But I'm looking over at OBS, and OBS is lagging really bad, so I don't even want to know what the stream looks like. Because I know the streams were worse than OBS looked like. Okay. 12 puddle ports, huge. I do not remember what I was doing at all. Like, at all, actually. I don't remember anything. What am I in the middle of doing? Actually, it looks a little better. It's still slideshowy, but it's a little better, I think. What is my goal here? Do I have any upgrades that I need to buy? Yes, but do not have money for it. Do I have anything to... Oh yeah, I was trying to get a teleporter, I think. I think that was my... That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get a teleporter of some kind. Right, and for that I need a bunch of pink plorts, and that's what I was getting the rock pink plorts for. Hold on, slime science, no, resources. I need, what do I need? Hold on. What do I need for the teleporter? Deep brine, hexacomb, strange diamond. I don't think I have any of those. Resources. Deep brine. Exclusive to the dry reef obtained with a pump. I need the brine. The deep brine. Hexacomb I don't know, strange diamond I don't know. I hear noises. I hear whoa. I think it's that. Wait, I just remembered, I think I have a couple things set up. Like Aceto said worse. Yeah, stream notifications. I do not change my stream notifications. I haven't changed it in a couple years, I think. I always forget to. Oh, I think they're happy and waiting for me. Why are there so many... What are you all doing? Wait, I think these guys broke out of my containment. Oh no, there's still quite a bit of time left. I need these plorts, so I'm just gonna steal it from them. Because I'm evil and mean. Yeah, I think these guys are starving so badly they jumped out of my container. They're very easy to get, though. They're just pink tabbies. Literally just the name of the game. Fair enough. Now that I actually looked at the full thing, it sounded weird, but in Twitch it looked weird. Did it, like, cut off and it looked really suggestive or something? Or did it literally just... Was it, like, bugged? All I need is pink. Yeah, there's a lot less in here than there was. It cut off, didn't look suggestive, but it seems like a weird thing to put. Yeah. I think mine is just saying that if you watch my stream, I'll give you a big smooch on the lips. Hold on, I want to actually look. I don't stream often, so don't miss it. Please, I will give you a big ol' smooch on the lips. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I wrote that like 2 years ago, and then haven't changed it since. It's like rotting in there. Food. Oops, I did not mean to shoot out mangoes like that. Alright. It just changes every stream, but it's not anything interesting. Yours seems very interesting. Just the name of the game, wow. Honestly, kind of revolutionary. I'm pretty sure I have notifications on for you. I don't really pay attention to the notifications, the notification message. But I'm pretty sure I have notifications on for you. I lurk your stream when I can. Dude, Vegas is gonna be live for like the next 100 years, dude. It's so fucking funny. Vegas is hilarious. I do not know why he's doing that at all. It seems like such a stupid, moronic idea. And it is. Okay. And I feed the carrots to you guys, because you guys deserve slop and only slop. I give onions to you guys. And then there's not enough of you guys to warrant all of the... Oh, and there's a lot of... Okay. I'll just throw it in here because it's fruit. Also, ad break starting soon. If the notification in the chat didn't warn you ahead of time. Daniel's playing Marvel Rivals. I'm gonna kill him. Kill, kill, kill. Murder, murder, murder. Oh yeah, the radioactive ones. I don't remember when I did the radioactive ones. Yeah, there's just gonna be a bunch laying in the ground. I don't think I'm actually gonna sell these. I think I'm gonna throw them in the... Because I want teleporters bad. When was the last time you played Rivals, or this game? I haven't played Rivals since it launched. Oh, this game, okay. Oh, never played Rivals? I think ads are going, but I played Rivals at launch, and my computer is not good enough for that game in the slightest. I was getting like 3 FPS at best. And then I played as Squirrel Girl, and I wasn't that good, because I'm not good at those kind of games. But it was fun. I played Overwatch quite a bit in maybe like 2018, 2019. I played it quite a bit. Oh, there's an ad. How long do ads go for you? They're supposed to go like, I think they go 30 minutes, 90 seconds every 30 minutes. So it's weird that you're getting them like that. $30, huh? Strange. Who are you? Ogden. I don't care. Ads tend to be weird for you. Clearly. Are you... What? If you don't mind me asking, where are you from? Because I know ads can be weird in a lot of countries. A lot of countries just don't even have ads because of the laws in there. The US? Okay. Maybe you have like a VPN or something? Not sure. I know I have a VPN on my phone and only my phone because having it on my computer messed up a bunch of stuff. Messed up a bunch of my settings. And I just said fuck it. I think I'm gonna be switching browsers to Vivaldi because Chrome stopped the use of ad blockers, and I desperately need those to access a lot of websites. Because a lot of websites will just completely brick my computer because of how many ads there are. Not one turned on right now. Huh. It's weird. I'm not sure why that is. Hold on. I'm gonna take some of these. I'm gonna move them to over here, because I desperately need pink plorts. Eek. Also, big lag spike. That was funny. Okay. Haven't used it all day. A friend uses it as his main and suggests it constantly. And it does look good. It looks like the best option, at least for Chromium. I don't really want to use Firefox because I think it's more limited. I don't really know, but I know it's a lot different, and I want to be able to use all the shit that I have now just without Google getting rid of ad blockers and stuff. Because almost every single other web browser is based off Chromium, which is like the baseline model for Chrome. It's like almost every single thing except for Apple. Every single phone except for Apple is based off Android. It's similar to that. More heartbeats. Yoink, 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 yoink. Oops. I keep doing that on accident. Give me that shit. Man. Fuck. Chromium-based browsers to be slower. They are slower. They probably are. It is probably a fact, I think. Maybe. I probably should have looked at how many pink plorts I have right now. I'm just gonna shoot them in here because I need more. Because I was gonna shoot them in there because I need money, but also I need ports more. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have 5 brined. I think you said you need 10. So that's fun. Oh, I haven't sold these. Actually, I'm not gonna sell these. I'll put these in. I just want to be set for at least a little while. Because I really want those damn teleporters. I love the noise that it makes. After I put these in, not wanting to do something different. Well, I don't know with Firefox if you can, like, transfer your... You can transfer your search history and you can transfer all of your bookmarks, all of your data. And I'd want to do that. I want to have the same experience. I want to have the same experience as Chrome, but not Chrome. Hold on, I'm gonna check how much of each thing do I have on here. 119, 200, only 69. Fun, nice. Those. Oh, you can put. Okay, that's very noteworthy. I should probably just immediately put them in here, but whatever. Oh yeah, but you can't take them out. No shit, you can put them in there. I'm stupid. Okay. I gave all of these guys the heartbeats. I'm giving these guys the junk because they deserve it. All they deserve is the junk. I'm giving these guys good stuff. I'm gonna sell all the exports I get, except for, I think, I'm not gonna sell the pink plorts, because they're not worth enough for me to sell them right now. And then, you do not need to put any more of these in, I don't think. But I will put these in, because I feel like it. Don't use Linux as your main system. Knowing Firefox makes Linux stuff easier too. Yeah. Didn't the company that owns Firefox ended up, like, pivoting to AI or something? Or was that... Or was that they were going to and then didn't? I don't remember. I'm just gonna put these in and then I'm gonna sleep in my bed. In not real life. I think Vegas has inspired me. I want to end up doing a 24-hour stream at some point. Sleeping and all. They had a beef controversy about something. Yeah, I know something happened with them, like, losing a shit ton of money and then having to pivot to, like, AI. But I don't know if they're still doing that. Or if that ever went through. Sleepy night time. Time for the craziest lag you've ever seen. Okay, it's not that bad. They should all be fed. Okay. I need to go check up on my thingies. I haven't seen them pushing any kind of AI. Yeah, like every fucking other thing does. I don't think Vivaldi is pushing AI at all. As far as I know, at least. Okay, this is all jellystone, which is not what I need. I need the strange diamond. Okay. Where did that... This is what I actually need. I don't have to come back for it, man. Okay, I'll come for that. I'm back for that. I'm still gonna have to come back, but whatever. The hexacomb is actually something that I need. Bee stuff? Hold on, I did not read that. Slimepedia. Resources. Down here to hexacomb. Uncommon resource obtained with an apiary. Okay, but it's not location specific, which is good. Bee stuff and geometry, the chocolate and peanut butter of nature. Deep brine is exclusive to the dry reef, which is what I need. And then there's one more item, the strange diamond. I'm pretty sure that's like a rare item, and it doesn't matter where. but I'm probably mistaken. Deep brine. I think I need 10 deep brine for a teleporter, which is kind of lame. And then, jellystone. Oh, and I forgot to put in the buzz wax that I have. Okay. Hold on, I haven't read your chat. I haven't read your chat messages in a while, hold on. Oh. I closed my eyes and I opened them and now everything is blurry. It's probably not good. Hold on. Okay, I think it was just my massive ass eyelashes getting in the way. Alright. I don't know if it's primordial oil. I mean, I'm assuming it's primordial oil, because it's like primordial, like I don't remember what that word means, but I think it's primordial. It's not primordial or like I don't know. Okay. Mozilla has always been kind of open source stuff, which is always nice. Fun fact, Firefox is actually based off of Netscape Navigator. Really? That's hilarious. That's awesome, actually. I have 21 of those, 9 of those. Well, I want to check the recipe. How many hexacombs did it require? Better not have been a lot. I'm pretty sure it was 10, which is actually kind of fucking insane. So I don't think it is. Maybe I misread it. Maybe it's like 5. 5 is still a lot. Yeah, it's 5. Deep brine... Okay, I can get that easily. Hexacomb is very annoying and strange diamond is very annoying. So I need a pump. I think I only need 1 pump. Right? I only need 1 pump. And I need 2 drills and 3 apiaries? Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna gather all this shit right now. Yeah, I will. I have Slime Rancher 2, but I wanted to play this game first. Because I hadn't played it in a while, and I wanted to beat it. I want to end up beating it before going on to Slime Rancher 2. Beating it, meaning just getting to the end, because this game doesn't really have an ending. It has, like, the credits roll once you get to the final little area, but that's what I'm considering the end, and I want to get to there. I might have to, but I'm not sure. I definitely have to, because I remember my brother got it to me for a birthday 2 years back, I think. Yeah, 2 years back. Very much appreciated, because he saw that the game was coming out, and he knew that I fucking loved Slime Rancher. I fucking love Slime Rancher, I still do. Hold on, these guys are getting kind of angry, so I'll just chuck some in for the fun of it. Okay. I'm gonna have to start selling these because I am fairly low on money. Lower on money than I want to be. Okay, and now I'm gonna go over here. Where does the deep brine start? I think the deep brine... Hold on, map button. This is still the ranch. This little area is still the ranch. No. This is the dry reef. Okay. G? No, not give. What is it? V, R? T? It's T. It's T. Okay. This is still in the... No, this is considered in the ranch. I mean, I guess I'll put a drill here. It's just the pump that needs to be in the dry reef, which is here. Pump. And then the 3 apiaries, 1 here,
And then I think I filled all these slots, so it's that slot over there, right? No. Get out of my way. And an apiary here, and an apiary here. You don't have two. Okay. That's 12. So, at around 23, it should be good. Why is it showing me the way home? Did I accidentally click a button that enabled that? I think I did. Was it H? Was it... No. Was it R? It was R. Okay, I don't really have much to do other than wait around for that, so I'm gonna sell all the stuff I have. All the plorts. Be right back. You have fun. I want to end up doing a face reveal on webcam at some point in the future. I will save it for something special, like some sort of sub thing. But I need to feel more confident in myself, in my body, which I don't really right now. Not enough to do webcam fully on stream. That'd be fucking crazy. Can't even think of that right now. Anyone home? Mochi. Hunter? I don't have any Hunter. I don't think. And then Crystal, I have a shit ton. Actually, I might have a Hunter plort in here somewhere. No, I don't think so. Damn. Actually, I don't think I will sell the pink plorts. I need them and they're not worth that much. Okay, I just wanted to do that for fun. I might as well not sell the tabby either. I haven't ever actually beaten this. You haven't. You should. It's not that hard, if I remember correctly. It's not that hard. It does take a while, but it's really fun. This should have rock, yes. Damn. Okay. I don't even think I need these stupid rock plorts. I have so many rock plorts in there already. I think I have like 250 at least. Stop playing Stop. I played for a while and then stopped for some reason. That happens with a lot of games. I do that all the time. I think most of the games that I've played, I just kind of stopped playing for no reason. Or I just haven't played at all. I have so many damn games. I haven't bought a game in like 6 months. 6 months on Steam. Actually, no, it's been longer. The last time I bought games on Steam was like October. Because that was around the time of my birthday and I got some money. I spent like $60 on games or something. And that was the last time I bought games. I've received a lot of games because I have friends with money and they gift me things. and it's very appreciated. I got Papa's Pizzeria because I said if someone bought me Papa's Pizzeria, I'd draw a little doodle of their OC. Not expecting them to actually do it because I do not know how to draw at all. And they actually did it, and now I have to draw their OC at some point, and I don't even understand how to draw. Kind of sucks, but it's the curse that I have to bear. The curse of my own hubris. Hold on, I can get the orb openers. What are they called? Treasure crackers. I can get the green treasure. Art was ruined for me for a while. What do you mean ruined for you? Did something like traumatic happen? Or what? I don't know what you mean by that, and that concerns me. I think you have to buy. Oh, I should probably buy these. I'll buy this. And then what? I just purchased. Right. You. Open. Oh. 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 Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, it just gave me all the resources I need. It just gave me all the resources I needed. Actually, I still need one hexacomb. But it just gave me all the resources I needed for the teleporter. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Okay. That worked out. Despised even attempting art. Probably because I was required to do it for a while. Oh. Yeah. For like school? Presumably school. That makes sense. Yeah, you have to... If you're forced to do anything you don't want to do, it just kind of ruins that thing, obviously. What am I doing? I'm just like standing around looking around at stuff. Oh, yeah, right. I'm gonna put all of these in. I need one more hexacomb. Okay. It's very slideshowy. I'm looking over. It's very slideshowy. It's better than the last time, I think. Probably about the same on stream, honestly. Okay. I don't think you even put food in there. Yeah. Okay. Played at lower FPS. Yeah, I do not care about FPS at all. I could be playing like 5 FPS. I could be 5 FPS Andy, and I would not care at all if the game is good. I remember I played No Man's Sky. You know No Man's Sky, right? Insanely resource intensive game. I played that shit base model Xbox One. Like the original Model 1 where the battery was still on the cord or something. Like the cord was massive and had a big block for the battery or something. And I was playing No Man's Sky on that, and I was getting like 1 frame a second with the ugliest graphics of any game ever, and with like 10,000 ping. 10,000 ping.
What's up?
Oh, hi. I'm live, if you can tell by me being in this channel. Playing Slime Rancher.
What slime? Oh, I know slime creature. Yeah, I saw you were live a while ago. Um,
You didn't even care to lurk. SMH.
no, I was hanging out with some friends, but now
Fair enough.
I'm not, and hell yeah.
I'll typically just lurk in a channel.
Awesome. By the way, if you join um Happy's Discord server for his Twitch stuff, you get to hang out in VC with him
True.
and
That's
make fun
true.
of him while he plays video games.
Well, not that second part, but
No, you get to yell at him whenever you want. You get to berate him. You get to block him.
well, don't be mean to
Hard
me.
and soft block. No, you can be mean to him.
If you're mean to
He's
me,
just
I'll
saying-
mute you and ban you forever.
No, he's just saying that. He's just saying that. He just does that.
I don't just say that. I do that. Okay, I need to go over
I don't think
the
you do that.
thingies.
Are you using It's like a website thing for the little pigeon in the corner.
PNG Tuber Plus is what I'm using. It's not a website. It's a...
I use a weird website.
What website?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Oh. Okay.
Hold on,
Ooh, what is this? I don't remember. Spiral screen.
reactive.fuji.tech.
Huh. Weird.
Oh, it's just Discord reactive images, but you can put it on OBS.
Interesting.
Have you seen the little short
Spiral
guy in the
scene.
cage, and he's like caged like a bird, and he's looking at you?
Who is that, by the way?
I have no idea.
I thought
but that's
it's
my-
an animatronic. I know it's an animatronic, but I
Is
don't know who
What
it
the
is.
fuck?
Did you think that was a real guy?
Yeah.
Do you see how big his head is compared to his body? Like,
Yeah. He's just a dwarf.
yeah, but it's not right body proportions. The movements of the head and body aren't right.
I don't know. I believe it.
It looks like an animatronic to me, at least.
I don't know.
But I do not know who that is.
YouTuber.
That's
That's my
freaking
favorite
awesome.
YouTuber. And when he talks, he has the epic face.
Hell yeah. Like the awesome face?
Oh, is it the awesome face?
Is that what you're referring to? The little yellow guy?
Yeah, the yellow guy, and he has his mouth open, and he's like.
Yeah, that's the awesome face.
Oh, yeah, he has awesome face.
That's
whenever he talks.
That's awesome. Please give me a fucking stupid fucking hexacomb. I need it so bad. Yes, okay. I can make that a teleporter now. Alright. Fuck off. I got everything I needed now. Oh, ads. Ugh. You have slots right now? I don't know what you mean by that. I might leave at some point if I'm full. Well, you have fun if you end up leaving. Talking to chat.
You have 6 people in your chat, excluding me and you.
Neat.
Well, then it's 4.
Well, it wouldn't count as me. So I think I have 5. Limited. Oh, Discord slots. Right, I used to have full Discord slots, but I trimmed it down massively. You would leave mine before the 50 to 100 other ones? That's so messed up. Okay. Pink teleporter. Teleporter. Fabricate. Let's go, dude. Okay. Now where to put them? That is the question.
Oh, my boyfriend joined.
Hi.
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 Playing video games.
No way.
Okay. I'm live right now, if you can't tell by me being in this call.
Yeah, I figured.
This guy in chat just like crucified one of his servers just so he could join Happy server.
Hell yes.
Real.
I think I'm just gonna end up. Hold on. Permanently demolished. I don't remember if you demolish the teleporters, does it come back? I do not remember. I'm just gonna say it does. I'm just gonna make it a little bit more convenient for me and put a teleporter here. Hold on. I could put a teleporter. I should probably put a teleporter, like, here. Maybe. It puts me pretty far. I still need to do the honey Gordo. I forgot about that. And I think there's a hunter Gordo over here. I think this is a pretty good spot for it, because I can go all the way into the jungle area. I can go all the way into the... I think there's like a door area here, and then it goes into the quantum area. Like all this is the quantum area.
I have to go. I'm
Oh,
gonna
you have fun.
and say hi. Bye-bye.
You have fun. Bye-bye.
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 I'm playing Slime Rancher. Oh, they've left as well. Oh, hello, Pand. I'm in a few which you can't easily leave. Right. I think... If I put one there, though, it'll make it easier to do so. If I just put a teleporter here and a teleporter, like, right over here. I think you can see my mouse, right? And then a teleporter right here, and it'll just be easier. I just don't have to... I can save my legs a little bit. Or I could do a teleporter, like, around here that brings me over to this area. This area seems pretty good. I will put a teleporter in both places eventually. I'm just thinking which to do first. They do have unlimited range. I can put a teleporter in one place and a teleporter in another completely different place. But there's a limited number of slots that I can put it in. Like, if you look here, all of these little build areas, these are where the teleporters are forced to be. Farther, the first one, yeah. I think I'm gonna put one over here somewhere, near my home. This isn't a bad area for it. Actually, it is a pretty bad area for it. One here, maybe? No. I could put it here. That's right in the middle of everything, and I use that as a walkway. Hold on. We'll put it here. Teleporter, install. And now, actually I have to go all the way over there and put the teleporter down. That shouldn't be too hard. I'm pretty sure there is a teleporter to right there, I think. Hold on. I think it's this? No. No, definitely not. Where is that teleporter? I know there's a teleporter somewhere. Is it in the Gordo? Or in the... What are you? The grotto. Is it this? No, this is Quicksilver. I haven't done Quicksilver yet, actually. Headset is getting low. Not gonna go yet, but when it starts staying low battery, I will go. Well, you have fun. I do want to stream more, but I don't know if I'll have the energy for it. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a teleporter somewhere. Is it over here, but it's just farther down? Yeah, I think it is over here, and it's just farther down. Yeah, it's right here. This teleporter, it teleports you from down here to up to here. But this teleporter would go from here to over here. So it would step a lot of hassle. Or it would save a lot of hassle. Especially because this will go in handy once I get a slime key to open this up. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I need some mint mangoes, actually. I need to come back and get mint mangoes. Because I need to feed the honey gordo. And I'm pretty sure the honey gordo is 50. But if I get 25... I think I already fed it a bunch. I think it only needs like a couple. But I'll just grab all the mint mangoes I can. Yeah, this is gonna be way too much, actually. And then, I know there is a Hunter Gordo. And that's, like, meat and stuff. I do need to empty this set anyways. Okay, Slimepedia, Slimes, Hunter, Roosteroo. Okay. If you're a horror person, you might like that game. Oh, VOTV? I can't think of what that means. I might know it, though. If you say what that acronym stands for, I might know it. Voices of the Void? It sounds familiar, but I don't know if I know it. I'm gonna take these chickens. I think the hunter would be 50. So this would be 4. And then 24. I know there's like a bajillion chickens here. This is like the best place for chickens, because look at that. A bunch more chickens just spawned. Look at that. It's as easy as that. I literally stepped over one on accident. Will they just keep spawning from this tree? As soon as I pay attention, it stops. Like, dude. Silos are practically useless if you have all this. I need a single chicken. Come on. Give me that single chicken. Actually, I might be able to save an inventory space if I just go for 50. Yeah, okay. Then I'll shove the roosters back. Work sim game? Like a job simulator? What do you mean by work sim? I assume you mean like job simulator. But I have no idea. You guys will eat anything, right? You guys love slop. Okay. Where am I going this way? Job simulator kind of thing. Decoding signals from space and selling them. Interesting. I am not that big of a fan of horror games, especially single-player horror games. Not a big fan. But I might end up checking that out. You mentioned it on Chumpsalot's stream. Right. I think I do remember that, actually. Oh my god, I almost fell. That gave me a heart attack. Okay. Alright. Where do I put this teleporter? I was thinking right here. Because that gives me quicker access to this area with the slime door up here, I think. Somewhere. I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna put it here. Huge. Okay. And now I have a teleporter, yay! Alright. Most of the time it's not horror, there's like horror aspects. I know there's like the, this is probably completely different, but you mentioned like space stuff and selling stuff, and I just thought of, Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, I think is what it's called. I've seen that game, and it looks pretty cool. I know I have the green treasure pods now, so I can go for those. No idea what that is. Fair enough. It's probably completely different to what you're describing. That's what it made me think of. Oh, he's already full. Anything good? Slime key. I think. I don't know why it's... I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Nothing good. Okay, there it goes. God, how satisfying that noise is. And then, nothing good as well. Okay. Now I want to go find that honey Gordo. Or that hunter Gordo. Okay. Anything good? No. You streamed a bit ago, I don't know if you were there or not. I think I lurked, actually. I know I had like 4 or 5 streams open. Oh, fuck. Food, 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 food. Okay, I only got 1. But hell yeah, 1. Also, I need 1 more chicken, because I think one of them flew into the ocean. Oops. Chicken. No, you're Briar Hen. I need a hen. I haven't actually been over here yet this game, this playthrough. I remember parkouring across these stumps, and it was really fun. Music is into horror stuff, but not usually into horror games. Yeah, the interactivity makes it really hard sometimes. Hold on. If I went that way, it'd just bring me back. But also, this island is pretty inclusive.
I could just fly over there. But I want to go the way God intended. And by God, I mean the developers of the game. Don't like stealth, and most horror games rely on stealth. Oh, so it's gameplay for you. You don't like stealth? I like stealth. I'm really bad at stealth, but I like stealth. This way. Oh, it's probably not a good idea to be doing this at night. Whatever, it'll be fine. Open pod. Amber slime lamp. Awesome. Forgot about the slime lamps. I think I had a golden slime lamp. It was like really rare. Is this... Hold on. I think this is a dead end, but if I go this way, it's not. I think I might end after the Hunter Gordo, which I'm pretty sure there is. I don't think I'm making that up. Because I remember the area around it being really hostile. Okay. Yeah, this place. I remember teleporting back. But I don't want to do that this time. Is this not my... Is this a dead end? Are you supposed to fly over there? You're probably supposed to fly over there. I do not remember. I think you can just get across like that to this area. I don't know what's even going on here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm lost. I don't know. I don't think I really explored this area that often. Compared to the rest of the game, at least. Oh. Where the hell is that? Oh. There it is. And there it went. No, it's still playing the noise. Music. Now it's going away. That was really funny. I'm just gonna come up from here. What is that over there? What should be a treasure pod that I can't get? Oh, there's a slime up there. Yeah, it looked pink. Why is there just like a random ass pink slime up here? Strange. Stealth is good if done right. Most of the time it's just waiting around, that's true. I really like the Hitman games. And the Hitman games are like... Hitman games are stealth, and then if you fuck up, guns blazing. I like that. That is a fun version of stealth. Whoa, there's like a secret little oasis over here. I don't really remember this area. It's just a lot of islands. I'm just gonna jump down. There's no reason for me being up there now. Oh, stupid fucking purple one. Okay. All the little crop circles in the ground. Oh, I saw a green one over there. Okay, it's over here already. Water. Fuck you. Alright. I don't like how long the music lasts once the target's hit. What is this? Oh, it's just a really dark pogo fruit. Okay. Pod. Yeah, detected you just go on a killing spree. Fuck, man. I don't have the space for this. Worst comes to worst, I get rid of the mint mangoes. I should probably do that now, actually. Just gonna... Those two pink slimes are gonna have a field day. I think the pink slime behind me just ran for them and fell. That was sad. That'd be sad if I cared. Oh, jeez, that scared the fuck out of me. And he's dead. Womp. Oh, you've done a full kill? I don't remember what it's called, but... I've never done that before, but it seems so hard. I am not good at those games at all. I suck dookie ass. Oh. Oh no. I'm just gonna... I need my sprint. Excuse me. Passing by. I think the Hunter Gordo is around here somewhere. Ow. It's blowing up and biting me. Holy fucking shit. Okay. Oh, most of them just fell off. Oh, they all just jumped. Okay. I think they're all aggressive here. Excuse me. I don't know if there's anywhere to get up there right now. What's over here? Nothing? Nothing. Cool. I think it's just an area to escape. You've played all 3 games? I've only played the first one. I think I have the first one on Steam, but I played the first one on Xbox, and it was fun. Fun as fuck. What is that over there? That is an area that I have not been to. Dude, these fucking tars suck at their job of killing. Let me come over here. Is there anything good over here? There's a little slime face. No. No, I think it's the frogs. Looked like a little slime face. Is there any reason to be over here? Is that over there? I don't know what that area over there is. I'm gonna be honest. You probably like teleport over there at some point. I don't even remember that area existing. Third one was pretty buggy. It might be fixed now, but other than that, it's fun. Ow. Ouchie. I should not be reading chat right now. Hold on. Reading chat is paused for the time being. Oh, this is just the area I was in. I just do not want to die at all. Let me up. Thank you. Ah. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. Whee! Okay. Oh, there's more scaries. I don't really care, honestly. The tar are easier to deal with than these fuckers. Okay. Is there even anything up here? Was there just a bridge for no reason? I think there was just a bridge for no reason. Where the hell is this Gordo, actually? I mean, I'm just looking in the same areas I've been. Oh my god, I got so scared that this didn't have collision. They tried to do a train. Oh yeah, I forgot about the train. I've seen people play them. I've seen people play all the games extensively, but I haven't played them myself. I watched RT Game. I don't know if you know who that is. Irish streamer and YouTuber. One of the funniest fucking YouTubers and streamers around. I fucking love him. Where the hell is this Hunter Gordo? I thought there was a Hunter Gordo. I looked all across the map. I could have sworn there was a Hunter Gordo. That's probably what's over here, honestly. I think it was like up on a cliff. It probably doesn't show up at night. Oh my god, it's probably invisible at night. I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is, and I'm pretty sure I passed it. I like jumped on the area where it would be. Oh god, I almost just died. You do? You haven't watched much of his Hitman stuff? His Hitman stuff is the funniest. Probably the funniest content he's ever made. Because he's really bad at it and simultaneously really good at it, and it makes for hilarious content. I'm just plugging someone else now. But that guy's fucking hilarious. Yeah, look, it's invisible. Dude, I didn't see it because it was invisible. I'll live. Ow! I almost didn't live. I need to get up there. Let me up, dude. This is fine. Ow. Ow, ow! Dude, these guys are being mean. Okay. Hello. I do not remember what you give. The fish? Yeah, the fish. There's the muffins. There's a lot of shit. He did a lot of really funny shit. I think his Forza series is the funniest series of content. Oh, actually, I want these hunter slimes. They keep going invisible. Nothing good. Also, I don't think anything good. What about you? Nothing good. What about you? Nothing good. I didn't even look. Oh, that is actually good stuff. I'm gonna take the Primordial Gel, I guess. And I got all the hunter slimes. Okay, I didn't even grab the slime key. No, wait, I did. Okay. Now I have 2 slime keys. That's cool. I want to open that door. The Sniper Elite game. I do not remember what that is. It sounds familiar. I'm not exactly sure. Hold on. I guess I'll just use the teleporter home. I could have just grabbed slime plorts, but I have the hunters. Actually, I'm actually just gonna grab hunter plorts because I can store hunter plorts away, but I can't store hunter slimes away. I hope they live. I think that one died, but I think most of them live. Oh, okay. I don't know, man. They can have fun. They're fending for themselves. Oh, and they're dying because of it. Ad was 1 minute this time. Ooh, fancy. Such a long ad. It is a very long ad, actually. I hate the way that ads work now. Okay. I hate that it forces you to do, it forces you to do mid-rolls, and I had to choose to... I have to have a shit ton of ads. I have to have 3 minutes per hour of ads so that I can not have pre-rolls. Because it'll force pre-rolls otherwise. Alright. Actually, I'm not going to teleport home because I want to open the slime door. Hold on, I have to wait. Sniper in World War II, it also has X-ray so you can see the damage you do. That's cool.
Hitman, similar to Hitman gameplay-wise, other than the fact you have a sniper. I mean, you have a sniper in Hitman as well. I know there's the mission where you're like out on a sniper's perch and you have to shoot people partying in a mansion. And then you have to like shoot the cake for extra points. I thought that was really funny. I'm going the wrong way, I think. I really like that mission. Oh, shit. Hold on. Wait, did I just see... Oh, I'm seeing through the ground here. Interesting. Screenshotted. Next. I keep going the wrong way. Don't remember that one. I don't know why I remember that one. I think that was Hitman 3. Because I know they had, like, smaller levels in Hitman 3. Like the one you mentioned with the train one. It's just like a smaller map. There's an angry guy around here somewhere that I do not care about. Welcome. You don't have to mention every time you, like, want to step away to get, like, a drink or something. I don't really mind. It's nice to have more chat messages to read. But you don't have to do that. Yeah, you still do it anyways. Yeah, I know you do that in Wushi's channel, and you also do that in Vegas's channel. It's really funny. I don't remember... Did you come from Wushi's channel? Do that in every channel? Yeah, I figured. Did you come from Wushi? Okay, you did. They're called Wushi because that was their old name. That was their old username. Came to him through Vegas. Oh, you came from him to him through Vegas. I see. Okay. I was just wondering which came first. Ooh. Yeah, this is the place that I was talking about. This is like the gate to the quantum area, where you need one of each one of these plorts. You need a pink, but the pink is already in. You need a honey, which I have. You need a phosphor, which I have. I think I actually have all of these. You need a rock, I think, which I have. You need... Well, I can just look here. You need a boom, you need a rad, you need a phosphor, you need a rock, you need a pink, you need a... I don't know what that one is. What is that one? I don't know what that clear one is, but then you need a honey as well. The rad is there, and then where's the one that I don't know what it is? Is it up high? Oh, it's Tabby. Most of the streamers I watch come from other streamers I watch. Same. Actually, it used to be that way, but honestly, most of the streamers I watch now were either friends before they started streaming, which is like Vegas, Wushi. We knew each other before. Daniel. And then I have a couple other streamers who I found while looking through categories, which is something that I actually do quite often, which is weird. I actually look through categories. Hold on. I have all of these plorts in abundance, so I could easily get them. And I have the teleporter set up right there, so it's fairly easy. I remember last time doing this, I didn't have slimes for like 2 of them,
So it was a pain in the ass to try to get them. I remember doing that the first time, and it sucked. I'm just gonna watch this. The streamer most root from... The streamer most root from... Oh, right, okay. That was really confusing for me. The streamer that most of the streamers you watch stem from is a friend outside of streaming. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know why I was having such a difficult time processing that. That was really funny. But yeah, this should be fairly simple. But I need to get home and put all this stuff away. I need to sell the gold plort and stuff. Alright. We've arrived. Let me put the hunter plorts away. I don't need these right now. They'll come in handy later when I actually need hunter plorts, which I don't right now. These two things can just be thrown into the refinery, and then 365. I've seen it go up to like 500, but I don't even care right now. I just want the money. I need my stimmy check, bro. Ow. Are you guys hungry or something? Yeah, you are. Oops. Phrased a bit weird. I probably wouldn't know the streamer. I don't know how you know Vegas or anything. You're like chatter first and not friend first. Not in a bad way. Just like I didn't know you before you were you were in Twitch chats. A lot of the people in Vegas's chat I knew ahead of time. Like I already know. But I appreciate you hanging out. You're like the most solid chatter I've ever had. Not saying much because I usually don't have a chatter at all. But like, you being the only one helps me a lot. Oxy? Yes, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to see their full name. But I'm fairly certain I know Oxy. If it's the person I'm thinking of and not like a different person with that nickname, which I don't think it is. A lot of these went bad, but I don't really mind. Oh my god, I'm gonna have too many. Actually, holy shit, perfect amount. Never mind, there's one stray one over there. Whatever. That one can rot. Came across Vegas through their Discord? That's hilarious, actually. That's awesome. Vegas is fucking hilarious, man. I love Vegas. Me and Vegas weren't that close. We're a lot closer now than we ever were. But I knew him for quite a while. Same with a lot of the other people in Vegas's Discord. Giving them slump like always. Feed up my little swappers. You guys get fed, and you guys get fed. Oh my god, there's so many damn plorts. Too many plorts, actually. Now what? I think I have to get one of each of those plorts. So I'll get one tabby. No, I don't need pink. I'll get one of you. I'll get one of you. Actually, I don't think I have boom. No, I do. I just remembered, I'm stupid. And boom. And then I'll just I don't want an extra one there. And then, I think the only other ones I need are those two. But I don't have enough space for them. I think there's only like 1 or 2 streamers that I watch, which are completely unrelated to the others. I don't watch that many, actually no, I don't watch that many streamers actively. Actually no, there's maybe like 8 maybe that I'll actively watch in, which is quite a lot for me. I think that's actually the most I've had. Oh, the noise. Oh my god, it's progressing. Oops. It's a scale. Hold on. Oh, dude, so peak. I like the little noise. The little noises it makes. Hold on, let me get over to the tabby port. Used to watch about 3 actively, but recently it increased a lot. I have a lot of, I've had very long breaks watching streams. And doing streams, honestly. It's only been recently, like within the past 2 or 3 months, that I've started being a lot more active. I was active still in 2 chats, maybe. But now it's increased by a lot, with like Vegas and that crew. Took a long break, yeah. I'm trying to get more active, but it is really hard for me. With brain stuff, physical stuff, and also my schedule not existing. I do not have a schedule. It doesn't sound like... It sounds like it's good, but it's actually bad. Because I'm still doing a bunch of shit throughout the day. I just don't have a specified time of when I do stuff. So I never know when I'm free or not. Met one of my friends and that kind of got me back into it. Yeah, joining Vegas's Discord got me back into it. Because I wasn't in it for a little bit. I don't think you know the history of the pogfish. I don't think you've been taught the legends. That's how we all know each other, was from that server. It was a Discord server that we were all in. Most of the people from that, most of the people from the friend group met through that. Do not ruin his... Well, if you ruin his jump scare now, I'll expect it. I did increase the volume to 150% though, so it'll still scare the shit out of me because of how loud it is. But this is a big moment. Don't ruin this moment. I'm about to open this really cool gate. This is a big deal. Don't ruin it. Look at it. Look at it go. I think I have to approach it. Look at that. It's so sparkly. Look at it. It's beautiful. Oh, dude. Beautiful. The choir, dude. Oh, it's beautiful. We've entered the quantum realm. That's awesome. Into the past, ancient ruins. Where are the little quantum shits? I don't think the little quantum shits show up yet. Oh god, I forgot about the doors. There's like sliding doors that slide around and go between place to place. Where's the little quantum shits? I want to get one of the quantum shits to put it in my... Yeah, there you are. Come here, little shitters. Quantum slime. The slime that really shows its potential. It can, like, phase through walls and shit. It's almost impossible to contain. I think it is impossible to contain. I don't think it can eat plorts as well. It's a very weird slime. Hold on. Slimes. Quantum.
Phase lemon is its favorite. Quantum slimes appear to have resulted from some sort of event. At all times, the quantum slime is capable of emitting other possible realities called ghosts. These other realities can come true with the quantum slime aligning with the reality of the ghost. It just teleports around the place. One time, I happened to go when the same chat another chatter went to when a stream ended. You mean like you showed up to a stream and then the stream immediately ended? That happens to me almost every single time I try to watch someone that I... Almost every single time I try to watch someone that I typically don't watch, that happens. Almost every time. It's ridiculous. I'll show up and they'll be like, we're rating this, guys. This was a great stream. Oh, one stream ended and I met the same chatter in that. Oh, that's really funny, actually. That's awesome. Quantum slimes can be one of the most difficult slimes to manage, given their unique abilities. A rancher needs the land to detect when quantum slimes are primed to take over the reality of a ghost and act quickly, such as feeding them or splashing them with water. Quantum plorts are believed to hold the secret to infinite resources. Given the quantum slime's ability to change reality, it's theorized that unlocking the potential of quantum plorts can allow for a technology that converges the realities of other entities into our reality, and well, we're basically talking about cloning stuff. Infinite energies, chickens, whatever. Probably no harmful side effects to this at all. Same chatter from that stream. Stop streaming around the time YouTube implemented the 2FA requirement for streaming. I don't remember that, because I don't stream on YouTube. I streamed on YouTube once in, like, 2018, and my cat was giving birth while I was live, and I was playing Fortnite with no microphone. Very weird, very weird memory that I have of that time, but yeah, that's the only time that I've ever streamed on YouTube. Oh yeah, I probably have talked about that. I only have like the same 5 stories. I want to see the... Look how cool the quantum slimes look, though. I love the look of the quantum slimes. Oh, that guy over... Oh! There he goes. Oh, look at him. He's flying. Whoa. Oh, you can't... You can't suck them up, but if you splash them... No, if you splash where they were? Where were they? Oh, I think I splashed them and they came back. Water. That was fun. You can talk for a really long time if it's on a topic you're interested in. I can, depending on what topic it is. I definitely can. I've done that before. Unlike you in a lot of chats, I'll just hang out in a chat where no one else is talking, and I'll just directly talk to the streamer. That's most of the streamers I watch are like sub 5 viewer Andes, even sub 10. And most of the streamers I watch are sub 10 viewers, and a lot of them are actually sub 5. And I'm like typically the only one there, and I just like to hang out and talk and insult them when they are bad, and then say nothing when they're good. Like a Twitch chatter should. This area is awesome, by the way. I fucking love the quantum realm. I've always called it the quantum realm. Or like the quantum ruins. They're literally just called the Ancient Ruins, which is such a boring name because this place is awesome. Also, I have to get this map data. Huge. Look how cool it looks. Everything's all cubic and shit. This place is awesome. I love the ruins. And then from here, this teleport area, I don't remember how you activate that, but it brings you to the start of this, and this is like a whole ruinous desert area that you teleport to. It's like completely separate from the rest of the map. And then after that, that is the final area of the game, and once you reach to like here, that's the credits roll around there. It's the whole Norville, I think his name is. It's the story that's told through the little H bubbles that I have not been reading this entire playthrough, and I don't know if I've ever read them all, because a lot of them are in really weird areas. I know I've read most of them, and it's like a really sweet, wholesome story. And I won't spoil anything. I don't think you even care, but I won't spoil anything. I think I remember the ending. I remember the credits. The credits song is incredible. Okay, I'm just going back because I think I'm going to end it here. Prefer not to be spoiled. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I think that's it for me for Slime Rancher. I think that's it for me for the stream. I usually stay... I've actually been very consistent about streaming almost exactly 3 hours every time. Been weirdly consistent. I'm not like that, usually. Save and quit. Okay, it's fine. Nubby, or, block. I keep saying nubbies on accident. Turn this shit all the way fucking up. Oh, it's so peak. Oh, it's so peak. Actually, I'm gonna play this. I'm probably just gonna end up raiding Vegas, aren't I? I might as well. You're probably already lurking him. But I might as well. Uh-oh. Okay. Jamper Jam is live. I could raid Jam. I could raid Jam. I don't know if they go by Jamber or they go by Jam. I just have been calling them Jamber Jam because it's not that long. Hexadigital is live, but I don't really raid Hexadigital that much. Don't really watch them. I know Wushi is like religiously watches them, but I typically don't. What is Vegas doing anyways? Oh, Vegas is doing React Andy. Hexadigital? You don't know Hexadigital? That's weird. Huh. You probably don't remember them. Because I know you watch Wushi all the time. It's like Wushi's #1 streamer. Wushi's probably in their chat right now. Lupa is live, but... nah, I'll pass. Freakmeister is live. I don't remember who rated Freakmeister, but they're like a cool artist. I haven't really watched them since someone that I know rated them. Hanyu is live. I like Hanyu. I've rated Hanyu multiple times before. The music guy, that guy's great. He's 3 hours in, which means he's probably about to switch to video games. I'm just gonna fucking raid React Andy Vegas. Vegas being React Andy. I might as well, right? Almost. I've raided Hanyu multiple times in the past. I'm pretty sure you've shown up for one of them. They just do music and they're really cool. They play video games. Yeah, I'm just gonna raid Vegas. I'm just gonna say fuck it. /raid the Poopus experience. Fucking absolutely roasted him. Get fucking demolished, actually. Get absolutely crushed into a paste. Why is he just doing React Andy, man? Okay. Everyone go watch React Andy. After I raid, I might actually just hang out, listen to Plonk. Nah, I'll end stream. But, oh, wait, shit. I forgot to move it to the ending soon screen. I'm gonna sit here for a little bit. I want you guys to watch the ending soon screen. I put so much work into it. It's so cool. Oh, ad break. No, not ad break. Actually. Just ad break. It plays ads to get the ad revenue and then I immediately raid. Okay, I'm just gonna raid now. You guys have fun. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye chat. Bye-bye raiders. Okay, click the button. Now, bye-bye VOD. I actually have downloaded the last couple, but I haven't uploaded them. I will eventually. It's fine. Goodbye.